There are no two ways about it. The U.S. economy depends on trucks. In addition to providing direct transport of goods to market, they also provide an indispensable link between air, water, rail, and the consumer. Food, medical supplies, clothing, and other life necessities are transported by truck. And with the rise of global competition, just-in-time manufacturing, and tightening economic pressures comes an ever-increasing need for time-sensitive, cost-effective transportation alternatives. In order to remain competitive today, the movement of goods must be efficient and environmentally sound and safe. And with the emphasis on business timeliness, transportation must also be supported by a dependable network of communication.
One transportation company, Roadway Express, has strived to meet these challenges in many ways. They have created a sophisticated logistics support system, investigated new fuel technologies, and have been developing safe transportation alternatives. In fact, one alternative has emerged as a proven solution. Triple trailers, or triples as they are commonly referred to, are very cost-effective, environmentally beneficial, and maintain an excellent safety record.
A lot of people think that they're large and therefore they're dangerous. Statistically, they are clearly the safest vehicle on the road. They're far safer than certainly automobile traffic, and their accident rate is nowhere comparable to what it is on regular trucks. The perception of that is by the public perhaps is not the same, because there's a confusion, I think, on the part of the public as to the role of triples.
What are triples? Well, we've found that overall there is a blend of methods and technologies utilized in freight transportation to move goods as efficiently as possible, especially over the longer distances between geographic regions.
Normally, on the road, we see single 48-foot trailers or double 28-foot trailers, both of which may travel on most highways. But there is also selected use of LCVs, or long combination vehicles, which are operated only on authorized routes and always under special permit. LCVs are larger trucks that carry more freight over long distances. These include a variety of combinations. The three most common being Rocky Mountain doubles, which usually consist of a tractor pulling a 48-foot semi-trailer and a 28-foot trailer, Turnpike doubles, which consist of a tractor pulling two 45 or 48-foot trailers, and the triples combination, which is usually a tractor pulling three 28-foot trailers. In addition to LCVs, some freight is also transported by rail, or what is called piggyback, across geographic regions. Triples were first introduced in Kansas in 1960 and are now operated in 14 states and 4 Canadian provinces.
So they've been operated for over 30 years, but have triples been safe?
The record's been good. We've had a good experience with triples in terms of the number of accidents compared to non-triples.
Well, we've been involved with them since 1968, and they are on permits, so we were involved in the enforcement on the speeds and all the requirements of the driver and the vehicles and the combinations. Since that, they started. And again, we have not found them to be a hazard on our highways.
In fact, in a study for the Trucking Research Institute on long combination vehicles, SIDEC Incorporated reported that a generalization can be made that their record is overwhelmingly favorable from a safety standpoint. The primary qualification for this conclusion is that the superior safety record is due to restrictions on the routes and conditions of operation of LCVs and on the incentives for safe performance created by the state permit systems.
I think what we find is the large carriers such as yours know that they are on permits, and if there is a problem, they could lose their permits, and I think they make a very good concerted effort to make sure those vehicles are operated safely down the highway.
Many states have evaluated triples. They have conducted numerous operational and safety tests, and nearly all have come back favorable, the results of which have contributed to the authorization to operate triples on certain public highways.
One exception was the 1984 California Department of Transportation, or Caltrans, study of LCVs, a test designed to show LCVs operating at extremes. The DOT even acknowledged this in the written report published with the release of the film document. Although current LCV operation is generally operated under permit or restricted in operation, this LCV operational test did not apply those same restrictions. This test, in addition to showing the actual operational characteristics of each combination, also tried to show under what conditions the operation might be restricted and why it might be restricted.
In other words, the Caltrans LCV test did not consider the operations of LCVs under permits, the way they are operated and supported today by the trucking industry. In short, this test was purposely designed to push the limits of operation. This test was, by its own admission, designed to make LCVs fail.
Pieces of this film have been taken out of context and used in a negative campaign to imply a supposed triples instability, a problem that is minimal in normal restricted and controlled operations. The cause of any exaggerated sway can be simply explained by an experienced triples driver.
Usually when you see a back box moving around a lot, you can pull up next to the driver and see him moving the steering wheel a lot. That's the whole secret to pulling triples. Hold the steering wheel still, concentrate on the road, not in front of you, but say like 200 yards ahead. Look high, aim high in vision, and hold the steering wheel still.
Beyond the western states, triples' safe record is equally as good in the east, where they travel on both the Indiana and Ohio turnpikes.
Last year in 1991, we had over 77,000 of these long combination trips on the turnpike, and we had only one accident, a minor one, and that, in my opinion, is outstanding and just as a reflection of the cooperation concern by all of the parties in this.
The companies who operate these trucks ultimately maintain the most accurate data. They have to. It's federal law.
In fact, Roadway's record with triples is the best of any of our configurations at 826,000 miles per accident for 1990. This figure is equivalent to 69 years of driving without so much as a scratch by the average motorist.
Let's face it, one fatality on the highway is too many. But in reality, we know they occur every day. What about triples? Well, our examination revealed some startling figures.
According to the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute's Center for National Truck Statistics, from 1980 to 1989, there were a total of only 16 fatalities associated with triple trailer accidents. To put this in perspective, let's look at 1 year, 1989. According to the National Safety Council, there were 46,900 fatalities associated with all motor vehicles. Of these, 700 involved a collision with a train compared to 2 involving triples. And of the 2 involving triples, only 1 resulted due to its being a triple.
Statistics are valuable, but what is the best source of triples knowledge? Well, of course, that comes from the people who are the most experienced at operating them.
I'm not really inclined to drive anything that isn't safe, any kind of equipment. So I wouldn't be driving triples if I felt like they weren't safe.
I didn't know what I was going to do till the first set that I pulled. You know, it was more mental than it was anything. After you got in it, it's no different pulling 2 trailers. Yeah, I feel safe with them, and they don't bother me at all.
Triples are the best and safest operation of any configuration of trucking there is in the industry today.
The safe record of triples is inherent in the strict conditions under which they operate. In fact, Roadway believes triples are only appropriate when operated on properly designed roads and under properly controlled and monitored conditions. The comparison of triples' specific routes of operation to normal truck traffic can be best understood by looking at a map. In Ohio, for example, here are the roads most trucks can travel on. Compare these with the only route designated for triples. This isolated operating environment is even more dramatic when looking at a map of all the states. Again, here are the routes on which most trucks travel in the United States, and here are the roads authorized for triples. Other than specific routes, there are many other conditions under which they operate. They are restricted from running during severe weather. They must maintain minimum speeds on hills and grades, and there are certain standards all drivers are required to meet.